There is a tree whose roots once flavored the most iconic beverage in American history, a plant so highly prized that early explorers valued it above gold. And today, the federal government has classified its primary compound alongside illicit narcotics. They sell you sodas engineered in laboratories to mimic its taste. They publish warnings calling it a dangerous carcinogen. They have created an entire artificial flavor industry to replace it. The regulatory agencies have spent decades trying to eradicate it from your diet. This plant cures ailments, purifies blood, and grows wild in the poorest of soils. It requires no chemical processing, no factories, no artificial syrups. And that is precisely why they had to ban it. This is the story of the native root they made illegal. Welcome to Root Vault. Long before European ships reached the Atlantic coast, the indigenous peoples of North America possessed a veritable medicine chest growing in the forest understory. It was not a rare flower nor a hidden herb, it was a tree, Sassafras albidum. The Cherokee, the Iroquois, the Choctaw, they did not just casually use this plant. It was foundational to their healing and survival. They used the leaves to thicken stews, they boiled the root bark to purify the blood, to treat fevers, rheumatism, and wounds. When the first English settlers arrived, starving and ravaged by unfamiliar diseases, the natives showed them this sweet-smelling wood. The colonists quickly learned that brewing these roots produced a potent tonic. It was a survival technology that kept them alive when the surface water was polluted and toxic. Word of this miraculous root reached Europe with astonishing speed. By 1586, Sir Francis Drake was hauling shipments of it across the Atlantic. In 1603, newly formed British lumber companies were sending entire fleets to America for the sole purpose of extracting sassafras trees. It became the very first forest product exported from the New World. It was not just a minor trade good. By the 1600s, sassafras exports rated second in value only to tobacco. In London, they brewed it into a dark, hot beverage called saloop, selling it on street corners as a cure-all, a cheaper medicinal alternative to coffee and tea. For centuries, sassafras was literally everywhere. Sassafras is a stubborn, resilient plant. It thrives in disturbed soils, sending up root suckers to form massive clonal colonies. The leaves are distinct, shaped like mittens or dinosaur tracks, but the true magic lies underground. The roots contain an aromatic essential oil dominated by a compound called safrole. It tastes sweet, complex, reminiscent of vanilla, wintergreen, and earthy spice. In the 19th century, an American pharmacist named Charles Hyers recognized the power of this traditional medicine. He combined sassafras root with other wild ingredients, dandelion, burdock, sarsaparilla, to create a concentrated medicinal tea. To market it to Pennsylvania coal miners who wanted a hearty, working-class drink, he carbonated it and changed the name. He called it root beer. It became an instant sensation at the 1876 Philadelphia Centennial Exposition. Root beer, the authentic sassafras-brewed elixir, became the quintessential American beverage. Let us talk about what is actually inside this root, because this is where the suppression becomes scientifically absurd. Sassafras bark is packed with camphor, methyl-eugenol, and safrole. These compounds are potent antimicrobials. They are anti-inflammatory. They promote sweating to break fevers. When brewed naturally, sassafras creates a thick, mucilaginous foam, delivering sustained botanical benefits. It is a natural pain reliever. It was used in early dentistry as a natural anesthetic and disinfectant. The twigs were frayed and used as the very first toothbrushes because the oils naturally destroyed oral bacteria. It provided a clean, sugar-free energy and medicinal vitality that generations relied upon. So here is the question nobody in the commercial beverage industry wants to answer. If this root has been safely consumed for thousands of years, if it helped build early American commerce, if it provides natural antimicrobial benefits, why is the root beer on your grocery store shelf completely devoid of it? Why are you drinking high fructose corn syrup and synthetic chemical flavorings instead? The answer is simple, brutal, and reveals exactly how our food system was stolen from us. Sassafras cannot be controlled by a corporate monopoly, and the moment it became a massive commercial threat, they declared war on it. In 1960, the United States Food and Drug Administration handed down a ruling that changed the American diet forever. They banned sassafras root bark from all commercially mass-produced foods and beverages. They banned saffrole. They classified it as a dangerous carcinogen. They pointed to laboratory studies on rats. But let us look at those studies. The scientists took pure, isolated saffrole and pumped massive, unnatural concentrations into the stomachs of rodents. They administered doses so high that a human would have to drink gallons of strong sassafras tea every single day for years to even approach the equivalent exposure. Under these extreme toxic conditions, the rats developed liver tumors, and that was all the ammunition the regulatory agencies needed. Later research, including studies from the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, revealed the fatal flaw in this science. The original studies ignored basic metabolic differences. In a rat's digestive system, saffrole breaks down into a highly carcinogenic compound called 1-hydroxysaffrole. But humans do not possess the same digestive pathways. We do not metabolize saffrole the way rats do. The human conversion into that specific carcinogen does not occur at any significant level in our bodies. But the FDA refused to lift the ban. And here is the ultimate glaring hypocrisy. Saffrole is naturally present in dozens of other spices that are perfectly legal. Cinnamon, nutmeg, black pepper, basil. You consume naturally occurring saffrole all the time. Yet only sassafras, the wild, free, medicinal root that birthed an entire industry, was singled out and made illegal. The United States Department of Justice went even further. They eventually classified saffrole as a Schedule I controlled chemical precursor, putting it under the jurisdiction of the Drug Enforcement Administration. Why? Because you cannot patent sassafras. It is public domain. It grows wild in the woods from Maine to Florida. You cannot sell artificial flavorings to a public that can walk into the forest and dig up a far superior product for free. You cannot create a multi-billion-dollar soft drink empire if your primary ingredient is a wild weed that anyone can harvest. The entire economic model of modern soda companies requires synthetic chemicals, artificial foaming agents, and proprietary lab-made extracts. Sassafras represents everything that model opposes. It is natural, it is abundant, it requires no laboratory, and therefore it had to be demonized, restricted, and systematically replaced with poison. Today, the major brands sell you a lie. They sell you brown sugar water flavored with synthetic petroleum derivatives, stripped of any medicinal value, and they dare to call it root beer. They convinced everyone that the true root is dangerous, a menace, something to fear. But the knowledge does not die. In the Appalachian Mountains, traditional families still brew their spring tonics. In Louisiana, Creole chefs still dry the green leaves to make file powder, an essential thickener for gumbo that somehow managed to slip through the regulatory cracks. The tree still grows. It still sends its roots deep into the American soil. It still offers the exact same healing properties that sustained indigenous tribes and early settlers. Every person who learns that the original flavor of America is actually a wild medicinal root becomes harder to control. Every forager who brews a pot of authentic sassafras tea represents lost profit for the artificial flavor industry. Every tree that thrives in the forest understory is proof that the industrial food narrative is a total fabrication. They banned it because they could not monopolize it. They convinced you it was toxic because its wild abundance undermines their chemical empire. But centuries of human history tell a different story. The story is simple. This plant heals and flavors abundantly without asking permission or requiring a corporate patent. And that is why they want you to forget it exists. But you will not, because now you know. The indigenous healers knew, the original pharmacists definitely knew. Sassafras is still here, still growing, still offering its sweet, rebellious roots to anyone willing to remember. If this vault opens something for you, subscribe to Root Vault and hit the bell. Every like and every share helps preserve this wisdom. The next vault opens soon.